Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we've got Killer of Fowl. So, for those of you just joining us, creepypasta are campfire stories that are copied and pasted all across the internet, and their name came from copy paste, which got turned to copy pasta, and the scary ones are called creepypasta. So we will just dive right into this one. Killer of Fowl. It starts off with a person, I believe in a closet, hiding from a killer who he's heard from on the news, and he's just like praying to God and just panicking and waiting for something, and it's getting like the killer is like he can hear the killer out just outside the door, and he's wondering why it had to be me, and like because he's heard all this horrible stuff about this killer. Then he hears the killer just outside the door and starts banging on the door, trying to get in, and at some point, while this is going on in his like inner monologue, which is pretty much kind of how the story is going. Story starts off. You kind of get a sense that you're just listening to the inner monologue of this man or a person, and just as like cracks are starting to form on the door, he kind of gets his fear starts switching over to rage that he doesn't want to become a victim. He's not going to be a victim, and so he, like at the last second, he like pushes, like just goes against the door himself on his side. And he then falls flat onto a cement floor and is in a warehouse and not his house. And he's kind of freaked out again, like he's back into fear mode. And he's just like, this isn't my house, where am I? And it's this creepy little, like, dark, dank warehouse from the sounds of it. And does he find the body? Yeah, he finds a hanging body, like, horribly bludgeoned and mutilated. Like within within minutes of getting up on his feet, and I can't remember. Does he find also like a woman in a fetal position or something like that nearby, or is it the crow with I guess
he finds the first body, then he finds a feather. From the crow, which is, I'm assuming that the other one that was poorly done was written first, so he's taken the elements from that. Cause
that actually makes sense. Yeah, because
so that's why there's the because it's basically the same MO.
Yeah, we'll get it
described, but it's.
Yeah, it's almost like word for word too, like the description and everything.
Well, it's not word for word. That's the good part, but it's the exact same MO.
Yeah.
This is kind of really a 2-for-1.
Yeah, we'll get into the other one afterward, but so he finds the feather beside the body and stuff. I think he freaks out and then he trips over the
bat.
Yeah, trips over a bat, which is all bloody and has like brain matter and teeth embedded in it and stuff from what it's been used for. And he picks it up because he's like, all right, I'll use this against the killer because I'm clearly a victim.
Well, and it's known as the killer's weapon. I mean, it's a bloody baseball bat, and everyone who the killer kills is killed with the bat. They're all bludgeoned to death or strangled, whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're all killed with the bat. So he's like, oh, the bat. This is his bat. That means I've got a weapon and he doesn't. I'm going to get this motherfucker.
I'm the hunter. He's now the prey. Yeah, exactly. And Then he finds the crow body with all the crows around it, or
he finds the crows.
Yeah, he finds the crows, and they're all like pecking at the maggots on a dead crow, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And he kind of gets like some fascination with that, a more morbid fascination with that. And I believe he finds the girl too at that point.
No. Then he goes into he gets the pain.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. He gets
tearing up his insides.
Yeah, it's almost like I think I kind of like was it. Did you get like the sense that like he was envisioning like a crow or something was coming out of his stomach, or just like weird, like just like a weird pain in his body or something like that? I don't know. I kind of like when like as I was reading
I didn't picture I didn't think he was picturing a crow. He says it's like a crow inside of him.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's got this like horrible pain now, and because I know there is a large part coming up, but I just can't remember if the girl was first or afterward.
Actually, there is no girl.
Really?
So far.
Okay.
And he's already smashed the mirror.
Okay, so
okay.
After the
yeah, it's the mirror, and then
the girl.
It's going to be the girl.
Okay,
in theory.
All right. So yeah, and then after so he's looking at the dead crow, and the other crows are like picking up worms and stuff in it, and then he starts getting this pain himself in his chest and in his body, in his guts, and he's like it's constant. It's just always there now. No?
That's never stated.
Okay. Well, he's got this pain, and then he like, does he turn around and then he sees the?
No, he
the killer,
keeps moving.
He keeps moving. Okay, keeps moving and sees the killer there, and he's got the bat. The killer doesn't, and so he goes to like bring the bat around for a swing. And just as he's about to like hit the killer, he hears, "I'm sorry."
No.
Am I really that off? Wow.
Yeah, you are really off. He
right,
sees the killer.
All right, you can.
And then he swings the bat, and the killer shatters into 100 pieces, and he keeps, but they're all little. All of the pieces that he shattered into are little killers, and he keeps smashing. It's like, oh. It was a mirror, but I don't think it really... Don't know if it overtly states that or not.
I don't think till after he says, or after he's broken like a bunch of them.
Yeah, he just keeps going over and over again. And then he comes upon the girl, and she's all weepy because she's been captured by the killer, and he's all like, "I'm sorry," and, bludgeons her.
Yeah.
That's basically where it is.
That's where it ends, and like it goes into him like just constantly with this like weird, like not monologue, but like just like this dialogue of like it's like hitting these people, like killing these people, is the only thing that like makes the pain go away inside of him. By the way, at this point,
he's trying to do something. Like he's trying to accomplish something with these killings. Like a lot of televised and in movie serial killers.
Yeah. Like almost like.
But they don't. He hasn't. They don't tell you what.
Gotcha.
You don't know what he's trying to do, but he's trying to do something. Mm-hmm. When they're all gone, the world will be safe. Yeah. From what?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
we never really know.
Exactly, which is part of the simple beauty of it, because the fact that you don't understand it, it's like, well.
Yeah. So just as a quick rundown to the rundown, the story is essentially it starts off, you think it's the victim, and then it turns out the victim that's inner monologue you're reading is actually the killers, and then it is revealed like really close near the end that he was actually the killer all along, and then he kills another person, and that's the end of the story. So, I don't know, you sent it to me over the weekend, and I was watching it, or I read it through like pretty much a couple of minutes after I got that message. I actually enjoyed it. Like, it was a very simple but very effective, or not origin, but like it gave you like kind of in the mind of a killer kind of mindset.
It was a fun little read. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it didn't try and be pretentious. It didn't try and take itself overly serious. It just genuinely felt like someone was having some fun, and with that happening, I was able to just read it and have some fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't even rely on its twist for that, because twist is, you can spot it a mile away, but it doesn't. I didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, I mean, I was reading.
I was like, oh, he's the killer. Whatever.
Let's keep reading. Yeah, exactly. Like, it didn't ruin the story. Like, when you started like realizing that was was going to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was a fairly well done, like well written story.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
it could have been worse. It could. I thought there was maybe. I think at the beginning I was like looking at it, and I was like, "There's a little too much description of things, like a little too many words, like describing like part, like just actions."
That was just you being upset because you couldn't find a YouTube video.
No, that was actually that was like way after this. I read the story, so that was for when I was trying to like come up with a refresher for this video, which we never found. And yeah, and then it doesn't actually even have any comments on the store on the wiki site. I checked it like a couple of times. There's no comments for this one, so it's a fairly new creepypasta on the creepypasta wiki, which you can check it out. If you haven't been deterred by me completely spoiling everything.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like we said, its twist is not very well hidden.
Yeah, it's not very subtle.
But the read was still fun, and I think that even after, knowing every little detail, which obviously our rundowns don't give that, but even if you knew every little detail, it's still a fun little read.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the killer's description, or like as a costume or a guise or? Whatever.
Honestly, I thought of the
plague doctor from
the guys who sell you medicine from Assassin's Creed.
Plague Doctors.
2?
Yeah, the ones with the beaks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they had a raven mask, but it wasn't the ones with the beaks.
You don't have to be that sarcastic all the time.
I don't have to, but you wouldn't know it was me. You wouldn't know it was me if I wasn't.
Fair enough. But yeah, like that's what I was reminded of a lot for that too. I did kind of think it was weird, like the electrical duct tape wrapped around his hands. I guess he didn't want to go with gloves.
It comes from what I assume the source material is.
We'll get into it in a second.
Actually, and your theory that there's just too much description and too many words at the start, I hear you.
I mean, it didn't ruin it, but I'm just like...
I noticed something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of words, and it's fairly coherent, but as it goes, and as he seems to be becoming confronted with what's really going on as opposed to what you thought was going on at the start,
the words become less and less.
He becomes... Well, exactly. It's less specific. It's less coherent.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking about smashing the pieces of the mirror. He's not like, I'm smashing the pieces of a mirror. I'm smashing little
men that are dividing.
Little killers, yeah.
That are dividing.
Very Fantasia here with the brooms.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh my god, that's creepy. Yeah.
But that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's the exact scene that I envisioned. And it's... I don't know. So, for me, it works on that because it's like a little mini slide into, into the insanity.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it was done intentionally, but it worked on that level, at least to me.
Yeah, no, yeah, it definitely, like, once that got point, it's like, wait, it's okay. So that's what's going on. That he's, like, breaking, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
with
like,
the fact that things become less coherent and less descriptive.
He stops being the one person and starts becoming the killer more and more. Or, like, in that mindset, or whatever.
Well, exactly, but it's an actual... It's a subtle way to show you that without just coming out and saying it.
Yeah.
It's, a little bit... I don't know. It's just, it was a good way of showing that, yep, he's the killer. Worked a little too well, because you catch it really quickly, but...
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah,
it was a
nice...
fun little tool. Again, I don't know if it was intentional, because...
But it worked.
Yeah, it could almost have been unintentional, just by looking at it.
Yeah, because he does start off like with a lot of description or like a lot of descriptors and whatnot, and being kind of wordy, and then it kind of just slowly becomes more simplified wording and stuff like that. As it all, well, not simplified, but like it becomes like the more rushed. No, more like, you know what I mean? Like it comes like we've just been saying for the last like 2 minutes is that like it might have been it could have just been unintentional, or it could have been intentional.
Yeah.
Either way, it was very effective.
And I'm willing to give whoever wrote it the benefit of the doubt and say it was intentional, because why not?
Yeah. Tons of people do it. Or tons of writers and artists do that all the time. It's like, oh yeah, it was totally intentional.
Well, I mean...
The Room was totally a comedy.
Yes, it was. It had to have been.
Yeah, there's no other way.
Let's play some football.
So, okay. Yeah, it's one of those ones where we both kind of enjoy. We both, for the most part, enjoyed it. So, there's not a whole lot to pick at. Aside from, like, just what we've already gone through. So, I would recommend this one.
Yeah, so would I. I mean... It wasn't anything particularly special, but there was nothing horrible about it either.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't too far with its gore, with the gory details.
Well, exactly.
It showed enough that it was like exactly. There was enough that it was like that you got a description of things, but it wasn't like gore porn.
No, and
which is always nice.
Yeah, I don't like anything that's gratuitous for the sake of being gratuitous. So with your gore porns and whatnot, I just, switch off, and I give as many fucks as the writer gave, because, yeah, it's a cheap cop-out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was done well. It, for lack of a better term, tastefully.
Yeah, as tastefully as a serial killer or as a killer can get.
As tastefully as you can expect from a creepypasta.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It wasn't would I recommend it? Yeah. That's only because I've read a lot of things that are way worse.
Yeah. So, somebody getting into creepypastas and stuff like that, another one that you'd recommend?
Yeah, this one is actually delightfully mild and, kind of just... This one can't really be offensive.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. So, yeah, that's our comments and discussion of Killer of Fowl. Check it out on the creepypasta.wiki site, since that's the only place you can find it, from what I've been able to tell. So yeah, after you sent me the this one and I read it through it, I tried to find a YouTube video of it so that I could listen to it as a refresher before coming to the show. Couldn't find it at all. All I found was the other story that has the foul-faced killer in it, which is the foul-faced killer. This one may or may not have been the first story that came out. I don't really know. It seems to have the more popularity. And it's essentially a victim's perspective of the killer, and it's also a little bit more ridiculous. So I read the story straight up off the creepypasta.wiki site, and then actually just this last night I listened to the YouTube version of it, which is on Litterbot, the YouTube channel. It's a pretty good reading of it.
Good reading of a horrible creepypasta.
It's still inside. I mean, again, I had the lights off. I was constantly staring at a black hallway the whole time, so I was just like constantly thinking, like looking at my screen and then looking at that hallway, just expecting to see something there, as you do sometimes when you get creeped out by things, or you get immersed into a creepy atmosphere, or at least I do. So I had the atmosphere again, so it was the story was told very well, and
atmosphere can't help this thing.
All right, so Leviathan's got some words on it. I'll do not a rundown, but I'll just do a quick synopsis or a quick thing on it.
Basically, guy's on his way home. He turns down an alley, sees a silhouette. Gets closer because, they must not see me, because I'm a fucking car.
Yeah.
Sees that, oh shit, it's a serial killer that's been on the news.
And has ridiculous
Hold on. So he goes home and he's, posting a message instead of, calling people. He did call cops, but, he's posting this message and then all of a sudden, blam. He just
dies.
Yeah, he dies, and, the killer starts going on about, I just got another one. I need another one, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this one's completely ridiculous, because, this, serial killer, as he's being called for some reason, has killed 65 people in 3 months.
Yeah, across the country, but still,
Well, that's not, that's... Okay,
that's a little bit more manageable, maybe?
That is so ridiculous that it's clearly magic.
Yeah.
So I can't...
Or a cult.
So I can't really refute it, offhand, because it's fuck, magic.
Supernatural shit.
Like we discussed in the Russian sleep experiment. When it's magic, I got nothing.
Yeah. It's just it's the end all explanation for things like this.
The story never comes out and says one way or the other, but getting from Ohio to Florida in 9 minutes is magic.
He doesn't even say it, but you kind of have to you kind of read between the lines subtly on that one. It's okay, you're trying to say it could have been a cult. People are saying it could have been a copycat killer. I just think it's really weird that this guy killed this person there and this person there, and it's identical. There's no way that somebody dressed in a hoodie and a beak mask could have could be two different people.
Exactly.
That
one pissed me off too, because it's really? Because
it's the exact same guy, guys. Can't do it.
He's wearing a mask. He's clothed head to toe. There are no distinguishing characteristics about this guy. The only way you can say that is if DNA from the bloody, steel-dripping bat from the murder in Ohio was found, at the crime scene in Florida. Now, that would have... It's okay, we have empirical evidence that it's the same killer. Magic.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't give us empirical evidence in this story. They're just he looked the exact same.
There's no way that this guy could have been two people because he looked too similar to the other guy.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's a guy
in
who
a costume.
Has a generic build and wears a mask.
Yeah, and is in full costume. Nothing on him is actually shown except for his brown eyes. there's a lot of brown-eyed people in the world.
Yeah, it's actually a fairly
It's one of the most common eye colors, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, like, it's just, yeah, like, that part really, actually, like, even for me, I was like, really, story, you're trying to pull this, like, I went into the story thinking I was going to be reading a cool little serial killer story, and you're giving me magic. This is coming from the cultist. I was like, it's one of these stories. Okay, let's read.
And I mean, the one that, the bit that got me was 65 murders in 3 months. You know? Roughly 90 days.
Yeah, short of magic or a cult. That's
not even that.
A national conspiracy of like
sheer volume. 65 murders in 3 months. Let's say 90 days, just because that's a nice number. We're going with 2 murders, more than 2 murders, every 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, even if they're like...
This guy has to get from Ohio to Florida in 9 minutes.
Holy shit.
In order to have enough time to sleep, eat, and shit, he has to be able to move like that.
Yeah. And not get caught by cops, because clearly at that type of body count, the cops would be all over his ass. like a 63... Yeah, actually, I was thinking about it, the logistics. Like, I've seen a lot of Criminal Minds. I've seen a lot of these NCIS things. 63 murders, all with the same MOs, all with, like, across the country. People would be cracking down on that. Like, even if it's a cult, somebody would be getting caught. Like, one of those cult members would be getting fucked.
People would be getting shot in the face just for no reason.
For wearing that mask.
For not even wearing a mask. For coming home late.
Yeah, exactly. It's like... Or walking down the street with a hoodie on.
Like, the amount of hysteria that this would generate is just...
It would be mass hysteria.
It would be Orson Welles' War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
All over again. But on a national scale. Possibly a continental scale.
Yeah, because who knows if it's like any happening in Canada or Mexico. Or, well, Mexico would kind of just expect that. But...
Racist.
No, I'm just saying, it's bloody. It's bloody down there. Anyways.
Yeah. Condemning a whole country for the actions of
Don't
a
hate
few.
me, Mexico, please. See, I expect that out of you, not me.
Where does this come from?
I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so... So, yeah, bottom line, it's ridiculous. The body count and the supposed, like, killings that have been going on.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just absolutely silly.
I was actually really hoping this one was actually a predecessor, or one that came after the original story, but the more it sounds like this one was probably first, which gives me a little bit of hope, because the new one is actually better.
Oh, it's
by far.
God, yeah.
I mean,
leaps and bounds.
I mean, we went into a little bit of we don't have a whole lot to say about the first one. That's only because we liked the first one, and that seems to be our method. Is that if we don't like the story, we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Exactly, and the first one was actually pretty. It wasn't great. It was okay though.
Yeah, it was a nice little creepy story.
Yeah.
Which is what you want when you're reading creepypasta. This one was kind of creepy, but also way too more fantastic. A little bit, but also way too... It was too fantastical to keep you immersed, or keep you, like, kind of creeped out. Think of it from somebody who doesn't, like, read these, like, as a, like, I don't know, literary thing. Like, or, like, just, okay, I don't know. I lost that train of thought.
I mean, there's just no way to take this thing seriously, because as soon as the story starts, you're like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I say, as soon as a story makes you, you know, question the level of shit within it, it's never going to get you back.
No.
Or if it can, it's going to, you know, take some doing. And, yeah, this one just immediately, nope, you lost me. And, wow, it didn't even try and suck me back in.
Nope. Exactly. Yeah, and...
to the point where when the narrator, bites it at the end, I was genuinely happy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey,
God.
that means it's done.
Yeah. Also, the description of the killer, like, there's definitely, like, between the two between the two stories, they have almost identical descriptions.
Identical descriptions.
Yeah.
Not almost. It's
Yeah,
perfect. But that's part of the beauty of
the other one,
Killer of Fowl, is that it took all of these, like, rushed description and it spread it out over the story. Like when he looks down at his hands and, oh shit,
I've got blood and duck and black electrical tape all over my hands. Oh, there's the bat. Oh, there's the killer, and he's got the beak.
Well,
and
you
heard about that one, but it is spread across the entire story. Like, he finds the different things that make the killer the killer.
You get the elements as you read, and which is actually, now that I look back at it, I'm even more okay with the fact that you totally see that, the narrator in that one is the killer, because anyone who's read this one
knows the MO.
They're going to see it all.
Yeah.
Even without reading it, you still get the same effect, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason Foul-Faced Killer was worth reading was because Killer of Fowl was so adequately done.
Yes.
Like... Yeah.
There's really not a whole lot else to say about Foul-Faced Killer, aside from our little rant about that, but very well-placed rant, because, good God.
Yeah, it's a matter of, it's such a perfect example of doing it right
and doing it
wrong.
And it's from using the same subject matter and topic, essentially.
Exactly. If from what I understand, it's like if we had have reviewed one of the Jeff the Killer later stories.
Yeah, the legacy stories.
When we did Jeff the Killer, but that's not how it played out.
So
it was just shit.
Yeah.
This one.
So actually, I'm kind of glad I got to read this one too, because that also gave us a little bit more to jump off between the two stories, because they are such great parallels. One's really good, or one's
totally
good.
Perpendicular.
I mean bouncing off. They're the same subject, but they have such different ways about telling that story.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. The Killer of Fowl. In that one, his death toll is 175. But you're not given a timeline for it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. This one gives you too much information in terms of that stuff, whereas the other one, it tells you this horrible death count. But it doesn't tell you how long.
175. That is a really big number, and I do recall questioning that at the time, but not to the point where I was like, well, fuck you, story.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't get a time, so you didn't know how fast this guy was pumping out bodies.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so he's able to not get caught. Good on him.
Yeah.
Horrible for the rest of humanity,
yeah,
but
exactly.
Good for him.
He's trying to cure his sickness, whatever it may be, or whatever it is he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Good on him. In a horrible, morbid way.
Well, he kind of have to applaud a job well done.
I guess. Are we horrible people?
I am, but you're actually a fairly genuinely good person.
I try to be.
Your company is questionable.
Yeah, exactly. So, bottom line for this one, would not recommend this one. Or would after you read the first one.
Would, but read both.
Yeah, read both at the same, around the same time.
Yeah,
read Killer of Fowl, and then read this one just to kind of get,
just to see
how to do it and how not to do it.
Exactly, just to see how, two-sided it really can be from the same, basically from the same story. Because, they're so different.
Yeah, exactly.
Just everything about them is completely different, I'm just surprised that this, Foul-Faced Killer got so much more popularity. Again, maybe it's been around longer. I didn't look in that deep about how long it is. So it definitely seems that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on. As far as I know, it's not on Mr. Creepypasta or Creepypasta's YouTube channels. But there are a number of YouTube channels that have done it. Litterbot was just the one that I chose, and was really well done. Bad subject matter, bad story, but well
and that's
well
not
told.
Their fault.
Yeah, exactly. It was just well told. I'd actually is that Foul-Faced Killer on the wiki right now?
Yeah.
See the comments. I'm curious if this one has any comments. No.
Nope.
Huh. All right. Yeah. So. Yeah. Read both of them.
Yeah, because the horrible one is not, it's super short.
Yeah.
It's not a big waste of time, and just the glaring example of, what's wrong with one and what's right with the other.
Yeah.
It's...
And of course
I can't say it any better than that example.
Yeah. And of course that is our opinion on it. I mean, seems like people have liked this one, but I think people would also really enjoy the Killer of Fowl if that one got more airtime.
I think anyone who liked Foul-Faced Killer would like Killer of Fowl more.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, they would like it.
Exactly. Yeah, so obviously, like I said, we have our opinion. That's our opinion on the matter.
We're right. If you disagree with us, that makes you wrong, and we have to be okay with that.
Yeah, I guess so. Of course, if you disagree with us, if you want to post a comment saying how much horrible people we are, how wrong we are, even if it's not the right thing,
or even if you agree with us.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. Even if you agree with us, of course. You can comment on the YouTube channel or on the comment below if you're checking this out at Kiwi6 or Tumblr or wherever it may be posted. You can also send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for creepypastas. We haven't really been getting anything, but we are a relatively new podcast, so I kind of expected that. And yeah, like I said, we're on YouTube, we're on iTunes. I'm on Twitter at Review Cultist. I'm almost always on there, at least once a day. So shoot me a line and on a comment or something we should review in the future or discuss in the future. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So I am your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.